What you are about to hear is the assembled truth of what happened on Dead Mountain. Some details have been redacted for public safety. The Russian government officially denies any connection between the Kholat Syakhl incident and the unexplained lights still reported in the region. The mountain remains closed to all civilian access. This is the story of the Watchers of Dead Mountain. The expedition team set off into the cold wilderness of the Urals. Snow whispered beneath their boots as 7 silhouettes carved their path up Kholat Syakhl's merciless slope. The mountain's name echoed its reputation: Dead Mountain. Local tribes spoke of it in hushed tones, their eyes distant with generational fear. But to Elena Petrova, seasoned expedition leader, it was just another peak to conquer. She watched her team through the swirling snow. Thomas, the medical student whose steady hands belied his youth. Eva, adjusting her camera's settings with frost-nipped fingers. Mikhail, their engineer, calculating each step with mathematical precision. Oleg, the historian who saw stories in every shadow. And the inseparable Dmitri and Sasha, whose shared glances spoke of summits conquered and valleys crossed. None of them saw the darkness watching from above. The first signs came with the silence. Not the peaceful quiet of wilderness, but the hollow absence of sound that makes souls shrink. Even the wind died, leaving them suspended in a void of white. Eva's camera shutter echoed like gunshots in the unnatural stillness. "The Mansi people," Oleg said one night, his breath freezing in the air. "They say the mountain hungers, that it lures travelers with promises of glory, only to devour them in the dark." His words hung heavy in their tent, met with nervous laughter that died too quickly. They should have listened. The third night brought Thomas's screams, piercing through their dreams like ice picks. Above them, through gaps in the storm clouds, something pulsed with sickly green luminescence. "It's watching us," he whispered, eyes wide and unfocused. "It's choosing." Morning revealed the tracks, massive depressions in the snow that formed perfect circles around their camp. No animal they knew moved like that. No human could have made those marks. "We should turn back," Mikhail said, his engineer's mind struggling to rationalize what he saw. But pride and curiosity drove them higher, deeper into the mountain's embrace. Dmitri vanished first. His sleeping bag lay empty, still warm, as if he'd simply evaporated into the frigid air. His footprints led nowhere, ending abruptly in pristine snow. Sasha's desperate calls echoed unanswered across the peaks. The lights returned that night, closer now, pulsating like a heartbeat. With them came the voices, chorus of whispers in an ancient tongue that scraped against their minds like frost on glass. Even Elena, hardened by years of expedition leadership, felt primal fear settle into her bones. Eva disappeared next, her camera left behind in the snow. The last image on its display showed a figure, impossibly tall, impossibly thin, its form seeming to bend and twist against natural law. Behind it, the green lights danced like hungry eyes. Thomas's madness came suddenly, violently. "They're beautiful," he laughed, tears freezing on his cheeks. "Can't you see? They've been waiting for us, for so long." He ran into the storm before anyone could stop him, his laughter mixing with the mountain's howling winds. The remaining survivors huddled in their tent, but fabric walls offered no protection from what hunted them. The voices grew louder, more insistent, speaking of ancient hungers and eternal cold. The temperature plummeted until their breath crystallized in mid-air. When it came for them, it came with light, brilliant, searing light that turned night to day. The tent fabric ripped like paper, revealing a figure that defied comprehension. Mikhail's scream cut off mid-breath as tendrils of green light wrapped around him, pulling him into the blinding void. Elena and Sasha ran, their lungs burning with each desperate breath. The snow beneath their feet felt alive, pulsing with malevolent energy. The voices surrounded them now, no longer whispers, but a symphony of ancient, hungry things. Elena never saw Sasha disappear. One moment they were running together, hands clasped in desperate hope. The next, she was alone. Alone with the lights, the voices, and the weight of 6 lives lost to the mountain's appetite. They found her weeks later, half frozen and babbling about lights in the sky and things that walked like men but weren't. Of her team, no trace remained. The mountain had taken them, adding their voices to its eternal chorus of whispers. Years later, Elena still wakes in cold sweats, her dreams filled with green light and impossible shapes. Sometimes, in the deepest hours of night, she hears them, her lost team, calling from somewhere beyond understanding, begging her to return to Dead Mountain. But the mountain can wait. It has waited for millennia, gathering souls in the cold darkness, and in the night sky above the Urals, strange lights still dance, calling to those brave or foolish enough to answer. After all, the mountain is always hungry.